Um, Chad, I said there were no more crazy hamburgers, but someone made a song, and I have to play it.
Crazy Hamburger! Smooth that. Oil from Iraq, cheese from Sao Paulo, from Brazil, bread made in Turkey, put red hot chili peppers. Now put oil, very horrible spice. This is Joker Hamburger!
Oh my god.
1000 degrees, down horse meat.
It's so perfect.
Hamburgers. I'm going to eat these hamburgers.
Well, Program Answer made that. It's on SoundCloud.
I'm the most.
And then there's that. So now Crazy Hamburger can be put to rest for this foreseeable future. So thank you. Thank you. We're going to do this segment now. So, I'm going to do a thing here that I did not too long ago where I talked about my top 100 movies. And, I did top 50 video games, but now we're going to do movies. Because I have the list, I feel good about it. I think there's some modifications that could be made. We're going to start at the back of the list. So I'm going to go through the movies that I like. I've mentioned that I made this list. I wanted to at least find a day to get this out of the way, so let's do this. And also, I'm going to show you my completed top 100 game list as well, with some updates. Now, please note, this is not the best movie list of all time. Please note, this is only the movies that I like. You know, these are my favorites. Maybe stuff that I grew up with, stuff that had an impact on me. There's going to be a lot of movies here that maybe you don't like all that much, and that's okay. And there's going to be a lot of good movies I missed. Still haven't seen Apocalypse Now, so maybe this list could change. Haven't seen a lot of Hitchcock, to my great shame. So I need to watch a lot more stuff. I'm not really a huge movie buff. I'm a light movie buff, but this is the stuff I like. That said, I hope you enjoy my choices. I'm not going to explain them all, but I'll go through a couple select ones. Okay, so, you know, you can see my top 100. We're going to do Muppets Treasure Island at 100 because it is just such a wonderful movie, and Tim Curry's great in it, and there's Muppets. Unforgiven, Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood cowboy movie, very good. Got my Tarantino Reservoir Dogs, which maybe is his best. And then The Witch and The Lighthouse are not too far apart. Lighthouse is just up here at 83. However, chat, look at this. Look at 101. This is not a top 100 list. This is actually a 101. I had to do that. That's for the chat. But it's true. I think it really is a really great movie. I spelt Reservoir Dogs wrong. No, chat, I didn't. That's correct. R-E-S-E-R-V-O-I-R. Oh, I spelled it incorrectly. So yeah, I think it's a great Tarantino movie, but I put Existenz because meat stuff. The Muppet movies classic. Whiplash is, as a musician, I really enjoy... I'm not really like a musician, I'm more of a guitar person. Vinny, that witch is just 2 V's. That's how it's spelled. That's how it's spelled. Forrest Gump is such an overrated movie, overplayed, you name it, I don't care. I think it's just great. I still like it. I've watched it, like, way too many times. Goldfinger's the only Bond movie I have on here, but I like, GoldenEye a lot, too. Hard Day's Night may seem like just tripe, but I think it's actually a really fucking good movie that, kind of set the tone for a lot of movies that were similar. It's just fun, and it's really good. Dick Lester directed it, and it's excellent. Help is good too, but I like Hard Day's Night a little bit better. Bill and Ted, that's my favorite Bill and Ted. Total Recall, you can't, you know, Arnie. Exorcist is still one of the scariest movies, love it. Prestige, great Nolan movie, Bowie's in there. Independence Day, I can't not have Independence Day, because it's just a movie I've watched a million times, I love it. Will Smith, Welcome to Earth. Got Inception, of course. Rocky, the original, maybe could be even a little higher. but I'm happy it's on the list. The Lighthouse, this is a movie I've only seen in the past year, and I like it so fucking much that I had to put it up here. It's just, hark! May Neptune smite ye! I love The Lighthouse. I'm gonna watch it again someday. Indiana Jones, I put Temple of Doom up here because people may not love the movie and think it's the worst in the series. Well, Crystal Skull is, but I just, there's so many classic scenes. We are going to die! Sad face. It's just so fun and disgusting, and it disturbed me as a kid. It's the first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw. 7, you kind of really can't make a list like this edgy list I'm making without 7, but Fincher is a great fucking director, and I think Pitt and Morgan Freeman are great, and it's just it's always good. T2, one of the best action movies. I put The Dark Knight on here. Maybe some people would be upset. I was thinking Batman Begins might be a better choice, but The Dark Knight is the movie I've seen more. I think I've seen more. It's neck and neck with Batman Begins and Dark Knight. It might be a little overrated, but I still really like it. Minority Report, one of many Spielberg films. This one, I think, is just a really cool sci-fi concept, executed well. And even though the movie looks really of its time, like the color grading on that movie gives me a headache. Just good performances, good sci-fi all around. Spaceballs, come on. Mel Brooks, man. Spaceballs is great. Time Bandits, Terry Gilliam. My favorite Gilliam. I considered Baron Munchausen, but I put Time Bandits on the list, and I think I'm happy with that. Top Gun. The first movie soundtrack I've ever purchased was Top Gun. Maybe another overrated movie, but man, I love it. I love the soundtrack. I love the guns. I love how top they are. And the volleyball scene, well, I wonder if they're going to repeat that with 60-year-old men in Top Gun 2. X2, maybe my favorite comic book movie. I say comic book, but you know, superhero, whatever you want to call it. It's just great. Last Crusade, maybe could even be higher. So that's a little suspect. The Abyss, Jim Cameron killed 1 million rats to make this movie, but I love it. Even though it has some serious problems, I still think it's a great movie. And it's just... I remember the first time I saw it, it made me afraid of the ocean like Jaws did for a lot of other people. Lion King is maybe one of the only Disney movies I actually like. I'm sorry. But it's one I grew up with. I like it still. Kimba the White Lion remake. Hot Fuzz is my favorite movie of, who's the director? Edgar Wright. Terminator. Heat. If you haven't seen this, Pacino, De Niro, Kilmer, many more. Fantastic. Blazing Saddles, again, Mel Brooks. Fucking wonderful. Chinatown, maybe the best screenplay of all time, as it's referred to. I had to study this movie in one of my classes, and I recently rewatched it, and it's a gut punch, but it's just a really good, well-written screenplay, and Nicholson is fucking Nicholson is so good. Halloween, the original, I watch it just about every year. Good. This is the right time to watch Halloween, or maybe like 3 weeks from now, you know? Return of the Jedi. Why is Jedi on this list? People gave me shit when I mentioned it on stream. Jedi's on the list for nostalgia purposes. It's got some problems. It's sloppy as fuck, but I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and I think the final scene with Palpy is just perfect. It's perfect Star Wars shit, and some of the stuff in Jabba's palace is great. Note, not the retinkered version. Jaws at 63. I know it's a better movie than being at 63, but I'm gonna leave it there because it's a movie I didn't see growing up. I saw it later on, but I still think it's great. In terms of Wes Anderson, I got Darjeeling on here because the Kinks soundtrack in particular, but I love the fucking look of the movie. I don't have any brothers, which my friend Tyler finds weird because he's like, what? That's your favorite movie from him, but you're an only child. And, you know, it's a movie about brothers, but for some reason, there's just something about that movie that kind of captivates me. That said, the Moonlight Kingdom movie is also great. Tenenbaums is great, and the Hotel movie is also great. I can't remember the name of it. Grand Budapest Hotel. Yeah, that's a fantastic movie. A lot of his movies are fantastic. This is the only Hitchcock movie that I recall having seen. I'm pretty sure I've seen North by Northwest, but it's been so goddamn long that I didn't put on the list. I'm gonna watch more Hitchcock, and then I'm gonna probably modify the list, which sucks because that means that I have to get rid of these. I don't know which one. Maybe Existence can take a hike, but it's got a bone gun. Monty Python, Meaning of Life, not a great movie. It's a mishmash. It's a mess. I've seen it dozens of times, though, and I still love it, especially the intro. Spinal Tap is, for those that don't know, it's a mockumentary about heavy metal, like, idiots. And Michael McKean and Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer play the band, and it's just fucking hilarious. Great movie. Original Back to the Future. 2 is also amazing, but I just put the original on here. Iron Giant, one of my favorite animated films. Naked Lunch, another weird Cronenberg movie. It's not the best movie, but I love the bug typewriters and the mugwumps. I can't get over how much this movie freaks me out, and I love it. Ian Holm is great in here too, by the way. Big Lebowski, so little Coen Brothers action here. That goes without saying. Star Trek 4, which, truthfully, I think it's maybe one of the best Star Trek movies, but I just put it at 54 because I like the other ones a little better. But it's the most fun. Airplane. Airplane is one of the best comedy movies, period. Love it. Zucker's good. Dawn of the Dead, the original. I was gonna put Day of the Dead on here, but I knocked it off for a couple other movies. Dr. Strangelove, I need to rewatch, and if I rewatch it, there's a chance this could go even higher, but it's probably the Kubrick movie that I have the most love for without having seen it recently, and I need to rewatch it. Rem Lazar is great. Yeah, he's cool. Men in Black, the original. Pink Floyd, The Wall. This movie sucks as a movie. Hang on, let me explain myself. I love the music. I love the visuals because I watched it a ton in college when my friends and I were consuming the Devil's Lettuce, and it made an indelible impression upon me. As a movie, it's not amazing, but I can't help but love it. And again, it's The Wall. Children of Men has actually some Pink Floyd connection. They filmed at the Battersea Power Station. Children of Men, you've probably seen, but holy fuck. Some good stuff in there. I like that post-apocalyptic vibe. But the way they do it, and Michael Caine is in it, he's great. Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell, just schlock. You can't take it too serious, but it's worth watching. I love Star Trek the Motion Picture, as slow as it is, but it's the closest a movie from Star Trek to me got to the show, and also 2001: A Space Odyssey. Not a perfect movie, a lot of problems, don't care. Top Secret, maybe the best comedy. I don't know if I have other comedies higher, maybe Young Frankenstein, but Top Secret, just rewatched it. I fucking love Top Secret. Really, you laugh more in that movie every 5 minutes. Every 30 seconds. Every 10 seconds, there's a joke. It's just so good. I'll stop talking about it. Sunset Boulevard, I had to study this movie, too. This is an old fucking movie from the 50s. And it's really... Like, I haven't watched as many movies that I should have from this time. I'm not James Rolfe, and I respect them, but I can't really get into them. Somehow, Sunset Boulevard feels of its time, but also further ahead. I can't explain it. I love it. The Fly, Cronenberg, my favorite Cronenberg with Jeff Goldblum. Disgusting movie. I put Inglourious Bastards up here because I think it's my favorite Tarantino, but I think Pulp Fiction might be a little bit better. It's just, you know, it's World War II stuff, and I enjoy World War II movies, and the way it's handled, it's just hard to turn off. You watch the first 10 minutes of it, and then you're gripped for the rest of the movie. Eraserhead's my only Lynch movie on here because I need to see more David Lynch movies, but I would still say definitely great. And yes, that's how it's spelled. It's spelled bastards. Eyes Wide Shut. It's Kubrick. You're going to see a lot of Kubrick movies here, but Eyes Wide Shut is probably one of his most impenetrable, but I can't stop thinking about it. Every year around December, I think about that movie, and there's a lot of slowdown in that movie, but when it gets interesting, you know, it's amazing, and there's a lot of theories about it, the acting, so many fucking... They filmed it over a year of filming. It's an insane movie that I have some really intense memories of. It's good. Vinny, you're so pretentious. Top Secret is on here. I think they were joking. I don't think I'm that pretentious, am I? I got Ghostbusters on my list. But Pulp Fiction is 39. It's Pulp Fiction. What can I say? Star Trek 6 is a fucking phenomenal Star Trek movie, and just a great movie in general. And Ghostbusters is Ghostbusters. I grew up loving the Ghostbusters. I had the Proton Pack and all that. I think just a great combination of sci-fi and comedy, and Danny Aykroyd just about to get ready selling his Crystal Head vodka. Full Metal Jacket, I've been talking a lot about this movie because I rewatched it recently. I know the second part maybe isn't as good as the first part. It's not. But I still love it. And the drill sergeant shit is some of the most intense yet kind of darkly hilarious shit ever. And the movie is very... It's the best anti-war movie maybe I've ever seen. Young Frankenstein, again, Mel Brooks, one of the best. And Blade Runner 2049, I'm going to put up here. I considered it to be like 50 or 60. And then I brought it down here because I think it's even better than the original in some ways. But yet, I don't have as intense of a connection to it. I love the Blade Runner world too much. And I think what Denis Villeneuve did with it was really cool. It's not my number 2 movie or anything like that. But, again, these lists are really hard because I don't... After the top 10 or top 20, it's really kind of hard to place movies. So this could be almost anywhere in the list between, like, 20 and, like, 80. But I still love it. I've only seen it 3 times on purpose because I don't want to wear it out. I love it. It's a visual great movie, but it's again, it's not perfect, and it's slow as fuck. Wrath of Khan is my favorite Star Trek movie. Just a fun sci-fi action movie with some good character analysis of, like, Kirk getting older. Some good Spock action and some sad Spock action. Khan is still the best Star Trek villain, I think. I love that movie. It's so good. Good soundtrack, too. Saving Private Ryan. One of the best Spielberg movies, I think, but also... Maybe it's a little overrated because everyone was talking about Private Ryan when the movie came out. But it really is. It delivers. And it's a hard movie to watch, but also a hard movie to stop watching. If that makes sense. Old Boy. I remember I had a friend named Chad. This is real. This is the original Old Boy, not the fucking father Old Boy. But this movie, he showed it to me and a couple friends. He didn't tell us anything about it, and we trusted him enough. He was like, you need to see this movie. All right, whatever you say, Chad. I don't know how he convinced us to sit down and watch this movie, but within the first 5 minutes, I was on board. And still one of the most fucked up movies, but visually, like the hallway scene with the fucking hammer is incredible. The acting, like seeing Odesu eat the squid, holy shit. Top-notch movie. The Departed. Scorsese, I love a lot of his movies, but The Departed has a special place in my heart because I love Nicholson. I love the Boston accents. Microprocesses. Wahlberg is a real prick in this movie, and I enjoy that. It's just a fun movie. It moves fast. The soundtrack is great. Love it. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Again, Nicholson. Another movie I saw, I had to study, and I can watch it a lot. It's good. The book is great, too. Close Encounters. This is a Spielberg alien movie. Is good. Richard Dreyfuss, excellent. You know it. Devil's Tower. Do-do-do-do-do. Groundhog Day. I forgot about this one for a little while, but Groundhog Day is... I've seen this movie dozens of times as well. Or maybe I just thought I did in a time loop. Whatever the case, it's stuck in my brain forever. And it's maybe Bill Murray's, maybe one of his best movies and best performances. And I think it's worthy of my list for sure. I love it. Dunkirk might be my favorite Nolan because it cuts out all the fat. I need to rewatch Interstellar. I just saw Tenet, and while I appreciate what Nolan did with Tenet, where he just swung for the fences, that movie left me frustrated, a little confused, and also I couldn't hear the fucking dialogue. It's too Nolan-y, and he overindulges, and while some of the imagery in that movie will stick with me for the rest of my life, Tenet, that is, it makes me appreciate Interstellar a little bit more. I'm like, Interstellar is actually a little more straightforward, and, you know, I want to rewatch it. I've only seen it once, but yeah, Tenet is too confusing and too amazing and too much. Dunkirk, 90 minutes. It's got the Nolan style, but it's just a really tense, fucked up situation that was based on real history. And Nolan scales his Nolans back a little bit for this one, and it's tense and nervous, and I can't relax. Fight Club, maybe this is an overrated choice, but truthfully, Fight Club is a movie that still sticks with me. I think about it from time to time. It's a very mimetic movie, and I read the book. It got me into Chuck Palahniuk's books, and what else can I say about it? It's Fight Club. You know, you have Star Wars up here. Here's the original, New Hope. It's at number 24. It's probably a better movie than 24, but I put The Matrix above it. I did. Because I think The Matrix is a perfect sci-fi movie. After Tenet, I talked to my friends. I was like, hey, you know, rewatch The Matrix if you want to see a really fucking weird sci-fi concept that's just done perfectly. No fat in the script. The exposition flows really nicely. Every scene propels this thing forward, and it's just, like, it became this huge thing that influenced movies for years to come, and everyone would be like, yeah, Matrix, Matrix, Matrix. But watching that movie for the first time felt like a new thing in '99. Tombstone is a Western. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, Michael Biehn, so many other people are in this movie, and it is phenomenal. I can't recommend Tombstone enough if you haven't seen it, and the performances are just incredible. You know, it's about Wyatt Earp and all that stuff, and it's cool. I put Beetlejuice at 21 because while Beetlejuice, I'm not a huge Tim Burton guy anymore. I like some of his films, but Beetlejuice is a movie I grew up watching, and, you know, I love it. Honestly, Pee-wee's Big Adventure could also be on this list, and I forgot about that movie until just now. Pee-wee could be like in the 80s or 60s of this list. Between 60 and 80. Pee-wee's fucking phenomenal too, but Beetlejuice is Beetlejuice. I'll just always love it. It's the ghost movie that's funny. And you know, again, Ghostbusters, huh? Truman Show. It's Truman Show. I love it. It's here. So I can't believe it predicted so much of where we're at now. But The Truman Show is still a movie that holds up, and Jim Carrey does a good dramatic role with some minor humor. And again, really great script, really just fucked up movie, but I love all the little touches in the movie. I love, like, you know, like when the rain, like, just rains directly on him, and then they're like, oh, and then the rain opens up for the whole beach. Great ending, too. Aliens. The movie Aliens is Jim Cameron's version. I call him Jim because we're buddies. We're not. But Aliens is just one of the best action movies. Love it. It's fucking great. It's got amazing set pieces, and it's got Alien, but more. And again, Michael Biehn's in it. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, maybe overrated of a movie, but I still love it, and I still laugh at it, and it's worth being on my list, and it's just endlessly quotable and fun, and when I show it to people who have never seen it, they usually end up having a good time. So I put it on my list real high up. But Jurassic Park is a little higher because it's dinosaurs. Saw it in the theater, was scared shitless, and loved it ever since. Repo Man maybe many of you haven't heard of this movie. Why is it at number 16? This is not a great movie in the classical sense, nor is it a well-known movie. It's just some dumb movie from the 80s from some weird director starring Emilio Estevez about punk, aliens, and repossessing cars. And also, like, weird philosophies. In the supermarket, all the props, it just says can, soda. It's just a white label with a blue wording. Chips, cookies, tuna. It's just a weird movie to watch. But I love the soundtrack. You got Iggy Pop on there, the Circle Jerks, and many other good punk music. But it's not a great movie. I think it's good. Harry Dean Stanton is good in it, but it's one of my favorites, and I like to pop it in every couple years and rewatch it. I like to show new people the movie, too. So, then you got Monty Python Life of Brian, which is, I think, a little bit more than Holy Grail, but maybe, depending on the day. The Holy Mountain. This movie I show to people as a novelty because it's so fucking weird and it makes no sense, but the more it seems like it doesn't make any sense. But here's the thing. I've shown it to so many people as a joke over the years that I legitimately have learned to love this movie and understand a lot of its symbolism. Well, not through my own devices mostly, but also looking up interviews with the director, Jodorowsky, and, you know, reading about it, trying to understand what the director was going for. And, just because there's an old man with ocelot tits that spew milk in the movie, and other weird things like frog conquistadors, you know, you look at it at first and you're like, this is hilarious. This is a stoner movie. And then you think about it, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. No, this is an endlessly fascinating film. I love it. Vinny, El Topo is better. I need to watch it. I really need to watch El Topo. I put They Live at 13 above Holy Mountain, which is probably the least pretentious thing I could be doing, because They Live is just like Duke Nukem the game, or the movie, and it stars a wrestler. But it's got weird skull aliens, and it's Carpenter is not very subtle in this movie, but I still love it. It's got a fight scene between Keith David and Roddy Piper, and it's ridiculous. There's the sunglasses, there's the shooting. It's not a great movie, especially at the end. It kind of falls apart a little bit, but I don't really mind so much. There's another movie I like to show people for the first time and get their reaction. It's fun. So I got Shawshank Redemption at 12 because Shawshank is just technically, I think people acknowledge it to be one of the best movies, but it's a movie I saw when I was really young. I probably shouldn't have seen it so young, but it stuck with me, and I can still watch it, and it still holds up very nicely. Shawshank, and then Goodfellas, my favorite Scorsese movie. I don't like mobster movies. I don't like mobsters. I'm not, like, huge on that thing. Yet Goodfellas is just a movie that it's hypnotically dark and violent and weird, and, again, great soundtrack. I think it's Scorsese's at his best. And I like a lot of his movies, but it's my favorite of his. Clockwork Orange could probably be a little higher. You know what I mean? Like, Clockwork is a deeply disturbing movie, and I've watched it a lot, and I've definitely gotten a lot out of it, but it is hard to watch. I put it at number 10 because it's not my favorite Kubrick, but it could be. It's hard to choose my favorite Kubrick movie. It could be. But, you know, it's incredible. And what's his name? Malcolm McDowell does a fucking amazing performance. So, The Thing. It's John Carpenter at his finest. So I got They Live and The Thing pretty close to each other, but The Thing is so fucking good. Best practical effect in a movie outside of Blade Runner, I think, for me at least. And it's disturbing. Kurt Russell's awesome. Again, Keith David. And just a really good cast, really good movie to just watch during the winter, the dead of the winter, in silence and darkness. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Why is this so high? it's because it really is, I guess, a technical achievement for its time, but also it's in the same way Holy Mountain. They advertised this movie as like, what a trip, man, because it came out in '68 and it didn't do so great in the theaters, but you know who kept it alive? Like stoners, like kids. They would go to this movie, they'd be like, yo, this movie's far out, man. It's true, and that, like, it didn't really have a huge reputation at first for being this amazing, like, work of art. I mean, people acknowledged it, especially visually, but then, you know, over the years, it really grew into what it became, and I've watched it a lot, you know, back in college, but also, you watch it recently, and, you know, when you're an adult, you watch it, you get more out of it. There's a lot of interpretations of the ending, but did you know that the monolith is supposedly a Game Boy? No, I still think 2001 it holds up, and I can really just say with confidence that it's one of my favorite movies. But I like Empire Strikes Back a little bit more. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars, and it's my favorite soundtrack of a movie, and I don't know, man. I love Star Wars. Fuck, I love Star Wars, as Rich Evans would say. But I can't really think of anything I don't like about it. And that's why it's up there. So it's the Star Wars nostalgia for me, but also it's just a good movie. And having rewatched it recently, I just rewatched Empire without watching A New Hope or Jedi, and it was still amazing. And I'm glad I rewatched it. So yeah, definitely happy that that's there. Then you have The Shining at number 6, which, oh man, it's The Shining. Again, Nicholson. I've talked about this movie a lot. Aside from the weird theories that people have come up with, it is the most unsettling movie. It's not overly scary when you compare it to some other movies, like maybe The Exorcist, but it's deeply psychologically fucked up, especially the family dynamic. There's a lot of stuff that's hidden in the movie, but also right in plain sight. There's like impossible geometry in the hotel that was confirmed later on, like years later, where you're following Danny throughout the hotel, or you follow Jack, and then like he turns a corner, there should be like an outside area, but it's not there. It's more of the hotel. So there's a lot of weird shit in this movie that's just fun to catch and rewatch, and deeply disturbing. Raiders is just my favorite Spielberg, and it's Indiana Jones, dude. It's like, why not have it on the list, dude? I think it's just one of the most, like, again, it's a good action movie, but there's a lot more to it, and it flows really nicely, and there's no downtime there's not a moment in that movie I wish wasn't in the movie. So that's the best way I could describe that. Same for Alien, which I even have above The Shining. It's, I think it's Ridley Scott's best movie, even above Blade Runner. And it's one of the best horror movies, and the best alien movies, and the best sci-fi movies. It was made in, I believe it was '79, yet it still looks amazing. One thing I love about this movie is, anytime it was replicated, it didn't quite work out so well, but just the crew dynamic of just them talking, it feels like a bunch of, like, people just working together, just truckers. You don't even know that Ripley's the main character until, like, the end of the fucking movie. You know, you think maybe Tom Skerritt is the lead character, but as the characters are eliminated, it becomes its own thing. You know, the fact that they don't show the alien too much is fantastic. I've seen this in the theater, not in '78 or '79 rather, but I saw it when they re-released it in like the early 2000s, and it was a fucking great experience, and it made me fall in love with the movie. So what's number 3? Barry Lyndon? What? Yes. I put Barry Lyndon at number 3. It's my favorite Kubrick movie. I had to think about it for a while. I wasn't sure I wanted to put it at number 3, but Barry Lyndon might be my favorite Kubrick movie, and one of my favorites, because it's just a starkly beautiful and depressing movie with, you know, the shots, you can pause any shot, any scene in the movie, and it looks like a painting from that time. if you don't know what Barry Lyndon is, I'm not going to explain too much of it, but it's a period movie about a dude from Ireland that, like, rises in the social ranks, but he's kind of a scumbag. And it's 3 hours long. And it's a 3 hours long movie that I don't feel the 3 hours. I feel like every time I've watched it, it just goes by. And I'm, like, gripped to the screen. So maybe that's a pretentious choice, but then above that is it's the Lord of the Rings full extended editions. Not The Hobbit. Sorry, The Hobbit. You can just go into a corner someplace and not talk to me or my son ever again. No, I really struggled with this because at first I had the 3 movies on the list separately, and I had Fellowship a little higher than the rest, but then I thought about it. They were all filmed sequentially at the same time, basically. So Peter Jackson filmed these as if they were one movie with pickup shots. I know Lord of the Rings is not the best movie, and I know it's probably not even a popular choice to have as like a number 2. But man, every time I watch them, I have to watch the full, like, making of, and then I end up reading some of the books, or I, get really obsessed with Middle-earth. It becomes an obsession. Now, that's Tolkien more than Peter Jackson, but I think the movies were executed as good as anyone could do that, and I love the cast. I love the music. Just everything about it. They're beautiful movies. They're fun to watch. So I put them at number 2. That's cheating. I know it's cheating to have all 3 of them together, but if you combine the full extended editions of all 3 movies into one thing called The Lord of the Rings, for me, that's an easy number 2. I couldn't think of any other way to do it. So there you go. And number 1, what is number 1 gonna be, chat? Wait until you see. You all know what it is. Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. When he looked over at Donkey with that twinkle in his eye, I knew that Shrek would be my favorite movie for the rest of my life. It is a great movie. I love Shrek, but it's not my favorite movie. It should be somewhere on this list, but I couldn't fit it anywhere. I've already done a 2-hour commentary track for Blade Runner as a charity incentive. There's not much more I can say about it. It's not the best movie. I will say that it's not even that great of a movie if you don't like the world it's presenting, because the story is so fucking slow, and it gets kind of boring at times, and maybe it's up its own ass a little bit, but I've seen it so many times. I love watching it. I love sharing it with people, and it has an emotional effect on me. And it's just, it's my favorite movie. It's not the best movie, but it's my favorite movie, and I still, having rewatched it for the commentary, I'm like, yeah, yep, I love it. And I like reading about it, and I like finding out new things about it, and like how weird the production was, and how fucked everything was, and like how scummy the production was, but also how they overcame all that and made a movie that influenced so many other movies. So anyway, that's my list. I have not seen The Godfather. There's a lot of movies I have not seen that might be on the list had I've seen them. So this list for me is where I'm at now at 2020, but maybe, it could be a work in progress, and maybe at some point I'll see more films that actually really speak to me and I want to include on this list. But this is how this is my current list. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple too. There's got to be a couple more movies that I really like. Maybe like The Room, Troll 2. Okay, listen, if we're gonna do a list of good, bad movies, my favorites, it would be number 1, The Room, number 2, Troll 2, number 3, 4, and 5, any Neil Breen movie of your choice, then maybe Planet 9 from Outer Space. God, there were more, but I can't think of them. So those are movies I've seen a million times. Someone mentioned The Joker. That's a good movie. I like that movie. One of the few lists that didn't have Princess Bride on it. Oh, I haven't seen that in years. I forgot Spider-Man 2. I did. Mad Max Fury Road was on my list for a little while, but was not included. It was really like in number 82 or so. I replaced it with some other thing. But it's great. First Contact isn't on here because I don't think it's amazing. It's fine. Spider-Man 2 is great, but I need to rewatch it. Freddy Got Fingered, what? Put that on the best worst movie list. Escape from New York, I don't love it. Vinny, I'm disappointed Galaxy Quest was not on there. Wait, it wasn't? Oh no. Fuck. It would be here. Galaxy Quest should be on here. Absolutely. Conan's great. TNG movies? None. None would make the list. Advent Children. Willy Wonka should be on my list too, but then I have to bump up. Vinny, you had no video game movies on the list. Correct. Shrek 2, I've never seen it. Where's The Fifth Element? Oh god, did I not put The Fifth Element? God damn it. Paths of Glory, I have not seen. I need to see that movie. Terminator's on there, if you missed it. Die Hard 1 or Starship Troopers. Die Hard was on the list, I had to bump it off. Starship Troopers could be on the list. I'm gonna rewatch that. Cube is fun, but not a... True Lies is great. Terminator 1 and 2 were on here, yes. Add Pee-wee. Oh, fucking hell, alright. Fine. Pee-wee. Big Adventure. That means that there are some movies that now have to get bumped. Existence would probably get bumped, Whiplash would get bumped, and maybe... I don't want to bump Muppet Treasure Island. Fucking hell. Tenet? You want me to put Tenet on my list? Okay. There you go. Anyway. Yeah, this is the Metal Gear Solid 4. Put Last Crusade on. You missed it. It's on there. Gravity, I haven't seen. So, okay, we could do this forever. Roger Rabbit. Vinny, why are the movies above the bottom getting booted? I don't know. It's a very complex thing to explain. There are just some movies that I would want to include on my list, even if they aren't technically higher than the other ones. I'm sorry. Any Watiti movies? Ah, fuck. Well, here, I could add... Let me show you. I could add... Moon. You know, I could add, What We Do in the Shadows. That would probably even be, like, here. Somewhere. It's just too... It's too difficult. It's just too fucking difficult. There's so many good movies that people are mentioning. Jojo Rabbit was good. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, I have not seen since I was a kid. I don't remember it at all. 1917, I haven't seen yet. Put Ted and Ted 2. UHF is great. That's not on my list. Anyway, I have to stop now because my brain hurts from all the movies I missed, including Baron Munchausen. But this is the best I could do. Here's what's important, chat. I think the most important bit is this right here. Like, everything after this is just obviously amazing, but this is the best I can do. Diamond Cobra versus White Fox. Diamond Sobra? Well, anyway, that's my top 100 movie list. And, God, it needs more revision now that people reminded me of other movies I missed. Fuck. But, here's what I can do. You don't have to make this a separate video, John. You can make this its own thing. Put it with the movies, rather. So, this is my top 100 game list. Now, you've seen the top 50 version of this. So, I'm not going to go through these again, but I did miss Skies of Arcadia last time. So, it's here now. So, you know, here's all the games. I talked about all of this in detail in the other video. Right? So, I got some games I missed. Shame we're not getting 2 in that collection. So, FTL, Breath of the Wild, I have it like 37. I might have moved that up a little bit, but... So here's where we didn't see. So basically, this is all new from last time. So... Mother 3, Kirby Superstar, Silent Hill 2, Super Monkey Ball 2, if didn't leave that, I left that out last time because it was just 50. I got Earthbound at 55, Shadow of the Colossus 56, Link's Awakening 57, Dragon Quest 11 at 58. That game made a big impression on me, and it deserved to be on my list, and I think it's a great game. It's weird because there's a lot of story-driven RPGs on this list, but that's not my preferred genre by a long shot. In fact, I'm always like, I get agita when I think about starting a new game that's 100 hours long or so. And that said, though, when they're really good, I can appreciate them very highly. I didn't give up on Xenoblade entirely. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I need a second wind. But I got Halo 3 on here. It's my favorite Halo game, and I have not played Halo 2. I know. It's sacrilege that I haven't played Halo 2. I know it's on the PC. But Halo 3 is great. I'd like to stream it at some point. I got Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast on here. It's one of the best Star Wars games. Maybe not as good as Rogue Leader, but I love it. Slay the Spire at 61 because it's one of the most addictive games I've ever played, and it had a grip on me. I didn't even like card games until I played Slay the Spire. The original Zelda, I got at 62. Still good. Still bullshit, but still good. Zero Mission. So that needed to be on here. Absolutely. And it probably could even be above Zelda. Command & Conquer plus Red Alert. That re-release made me remember how much I love Command & Conquer. And the re-release was very good. And therefore it's on my list. Now, why is Zelda 2 lower than Zelda 1? I think because the frustration of Zelda 2. I love Zelda 2, and at times it's one of my favorite games. And I play it way more than I play Zelda 1, but I think Zelda 1 is a better experience, and I have a lot of nostalgia for that game too, and I played it a lot when I was a kid. Zelda 2, I think, is just a special kind of bullshit, and I feel like it could be knocked back even further, but it's a game that people don't like very much, that I like a lot, but I acknowledge that it's bullshit, mostly, and I can't help it, I just love it. Subnautica, another recent one. I love Subnautica's whole atmosphere, exploration, and horror. Monster Hunter, World or Try. And I put World or Try because I know that's cheating. I love Try, that was my first one. And that's why it's on the list, so to speak. But World, call me a casual all you want, no problem. I get called it anyway, doesn't matter. But World had a lot of quality of life stuff. It looked great, it played really well. And I think I played it for like 100 hours or so, which you may think, like, that's not a lot. But remember, I'm the guy who fears the 100-hour RPGs. 100 hours is a lot for me, and I really enjoyed it. I will not play Iceborne anytime soon. But yeah, it's great. I got Metroid Fusion, which is, you know, I like a little less than Zero Mission, but it's still a great Metroid game, and having replayed it not too long ago on stream confirmed that. I got Aria and Dawn of Sorrow at the sex number, 69, for no good reason. AM2R could probably be on this list, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, Aria and Dawn, I put them together because it's Soma Cruz, right? And I know, again, it's like, I shouldn't be putting... I got Zelda all over the place. I didn't put Zelda as a series at number 1, But Aria and Dawn are very similar games with similar mechanics, and I can't separate the two because they're both great, and I wanted to put them in a special position. Wario Land, the original Wario Land, for nostalgic reasons. Don't get me wrong, 4 was amazing. I played that on stream fairly recently. It's great. But the original is the one I spent hours and hours and hours playing, looking for every secret. It's still great. I don't have other Wario stuff on here, but if I did, it would be WarioWare Twisted, perhaps. Animal Crossing, I put New Leaf. Listen, I won't deny that New Horizons is cool and has a lot of cool stuff, but it feels like there was a logical progression that was not taken, and it also feels like there's a lot of depth missing. I'm not saying New Leaf has all of that depth, but it has more of it, and I feel like the next Animal Crossing, if they're going to expand the series and take it in a new direction, or at least, you know, make the villagers have more to do for them, more little chores, tasks, more dialogue, make them feel more three-dimensional, you know, more quality of life stuff with crafting, you name it. That would be my perfect Animal Crossing. And I think New Horizons, as cool as it was, all about the customization of your island and, you know, using your materials to create new shit, all well and good, and it was very enjoyable. I still like playing it. But New Leaf, for me, was even more addictive, and especially with that update, it probably is the best Animal Crossing, still. Final Fantasy VIII, it's got problems, but the word nostalgia is a powerful word, my friends. And I still love the music and the story and the world. It's just very tedious at times. And no, not Tidus. That's Final Fantasy X. Whatever. Team Fortress Classic is on the list. I have Counter-Strike on the list, but that includes a lot of Counter-Strike, and that's real high on the list. But Team Fortress Classic, specifically Classic, I love TF2, don't get me wrong, but I sunk many, many hours of my life in TFC, and it was a formative online gaming experience, and it will always be a great game. I got Outer Wilds at 74 because it blew my fucking mind. Even though I played it just this year, just a couple months ago, it did make my list, and it's something that I will remember forever. And that's a rare thing. Like, playing a game where you think you're maybe a little jaded, and then you play a game that actually wins you over like that. And it just really made me remember why I love space so much, and thinking about how small and insignificant we are compared to the size of the universe. It did all that. And it made me kind of depressed too, but in a good way. I got Oblivion on here because as much as I think Skyrim is all well and good and fine, Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game, and there was a sense of, like, I couldn't believe what this game was capable of. And I still remember a lot of the quests. There were some really cool ones. There's some interesting characters. It's a little crusty by today's standards, but the Oblivion Gate stuff, as tedious as that was, at the time it was just so fucking cool to play through. Half-Life Alyx I got at 76 because I really, I think it is the best VR experience aside from, you know, personal choice insert game here, but it's a Half-Life game that somehow delivered, and it really didn't surpass 1 or 2 for me, but it still delivered, and I couldn't get over how immersive it was because it took into account all of the VR stuff. Even if it was a little slow, it still felt really accessible for a VR game, for my first full-length VR game. Doom, this one's tough because I grew up with 64 and played 1 and 2 later, so I just put Doom, 64, but also 1 and 2. So, it's definitely a tough one, because it's 3 games, but they're very similar, and in some ways, 64 is like a Doom 3. So, you know, it's the Doom trilogy, I guess. Secret of Mana, I streamed this game not too long ago. When the remake came out, I streamed the original. It's bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit in this game. It's not even that particularly fun at times, but I will say that there's something about it that just I will always love. Maybe it's because I played it co-op when I was a kid. Maybe it's the music. the beautiful sprite work, the cool like locations you go to, the story that makes no sense because the translation was rushed. Neko the cat, the dancing shopkeepers. It's cool. It's a good game, but with, again, a lot of problems, and I still love it. So, Castlevania 3 is a very difficult fucking game, but it's certainly worth checking out. It's worth noting that Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 1 and 2 were influenced heavily by this game, and do some of its mechanics maybe even a little bit better, I think. I got DMC 5 on here because it's my favorite DMC. 3 is amazing. You could easily put 3 on this list too, on the same place, but I put 5 because I loved 5. It was the best playing DMC in my opinion, and I liked the different characters, and we had a lot of fun on the stream with it, and I had a lot of fun playing it, and it made me fall in love with the series. I got GoldenEye. It's not quite as good as Perfect Dark. If this was purely nostalgia points, I would put GoldenEye very close to the top. But again, these games they've aged, and GoldenEye I loved, but Perfect Dark I played a lot more of. I think Perfect Dark is a better version of GoldenEye, but still GoldenEye had to make my list because it's GoldenEye. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, same thing, is just a fucking phenomenal game. You know what? This holds up really well. This is still a really good RPG. I like Mario RPG better, but Thousand Year Door is... It's probably the best reason that people have to complain about new Paper Mario, because it set such a high standard. And it's deserved. It's a really, really legitimately great game. I don't remember the original Paper Mario. I have to replay that. And Super Paper Mario is fine, but it's no Thousand Year Door for me. Conker's Bad Fur Day, maybe it's just a weird, edgy relic of whatever the fuck Rare was doing. Again, gameplay-wise, it's relatively simple and kind of shoddy at times, but the game was hilarious. It had a lot of cool references, and it had some interesting worlds, and I don't know, man. And it had a really surprisingly great multiplayer. So, you know, throw it on there. Diddy Kong Racing, another Rare game. Maybe the best kart racer of all time, depending on who you ask, but from me, I like Mario Kart a little bit more. Which one? Several. But Diddy Kong has a great little world map, and I like all the music and the levels and the themes, and it's great. It's really good. Ah! And you can fly. Metal Gear Solid 2, I replayed a couple years ago, as you know, and it ended up being way better than I remembered it. Maybe because I'm older and I could understand it. Maybe because its reputation has improved like a fine wine as years improved. I don't know. Whatever it was, I liked it the first time I played it, but I was just disappointed that it wasn't Snake for the whole game. And now when I played it recently, it wasn't so much a disappointment that Snake wasn't the main character because I was used to it. And I had grown to like Raiden because of Metal Gear Rising and 4. So, playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and trying to dissect its themes and all that fun stuff, the, you know, pretentious stuff. Metal Gear Solid 2 aged remarkably well, and it plays well, and it's got some cool characters. That said, I like the original and 3 better. Donkey Kong Country 2. Listen, I like the original better, but 2 is still great, and, you know, you could make an argument that DKC 2 is the better game, the superior game, and I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right, but I like the original better because of the, you know, the impact it had on me growing up. Pikmin 2, I think still the best Pikmin game. I got really addicted to Pikmin 2, and it's, you know, had all those little challenge levels, so it's good to see Pikmin 3 coming over. I wouldn't mind a new one, or a collection. Pikmin 2's good. Shovel Knight. Why is Shovel Knight? This is all of Shovel Knight. Like, the whole scope of Shovel Knight. Because it's, to me, one of the best retro revivals, maybe of all time. And every time they released a new character, like, full expansion, it got better. And I like the different gameplay mechanics, and I like even the multiplayer modes. It's like the perfect mix of, for me, like Zelda 2 and Mega Man, and it takes that, brings it into 20 year, and good. And it's just very good. RimWorld I recently played. As you know, I got hopelessly addicted to RimWorld, and it deserved a spot on my list because of how... God, I was dreaming in RimWorld chat when I streamed it. You know, I couldn't fucking get over how much that game was, like, in my mind when I wasn't playing it. And for a stream, it made for a great stream, but just from, you know, playing it, it was one of those things where you'd play it, and then everything else in the world didn't matter because you were playing RimWorld. So, I put Mega Man 2, because maybe Mega Man 4 was the one I had growing up, and I love Mega Man 4, but I think 2 is the better game, and it did so much. When I eventually played 2, and then played it again, and played it again, I realized that 2 maybe had the better music, had some cooler levels, some bosses that were cooler, more original. So Mega Man 2, I think, is the best of the classic ones. Even if it's maybe a little overrated, it's really kind of bullshit, maybe a little too hard. But 3's really good, and 4 has its own charm. You kind of can't go wrong with some of the NES Mega Mans, but if I had to represent Mega Man on my list, it would be with 2. There's some big opinions about Mega Man 3 and stuff in chat, but anyway. I got Twilight Princess at number 91. I got lots of Zelda on this list, but I wasn't sure if I liked Twilight Princess as much as I thought I did, and then the HD remake came out. Now, if you go back, you'll see Wind Waker's at number 28, but I put Twilight Princess... Toilet Princess. I put Twilight Princess on my list because it's fun, and it's good, and it's got some cool dungeons, and I like the more action-oriented approach. And there's a clown. This one's Red Dead Redemption at 92. Just a great cowboy open-world game. Red Dead Redemption 2 was also great in a number of different ways. Make no mistake, the stream of it went on way too long, but I still liked it. I liked the first one better, and considering how we never really got, like, amazing Western games, getting a Rockstar open-world Western game starring a very interesting protagonist and, you know, cool world, I loved it. Twisted Metal Black. I put this on the list because I spent many, many hours playing it. I don't know if it's better than 2 or 3 or whatever, but I loved this game. And it had cool music, and vehicular combat is a genre I would like to see come back. I put Prime 2, Metroid Prime 2 on here, because while Prime 1 is really high up on my list, Prime 2 is great. When I played that game on stream a couple years ago, I loved it. I don't think it's too difficult or too confusing. I think there's even some improvements over 1. I just think 1 is more faithful to Metroid and does a better job and has a more concise experience, but 2 is really cool in its own right. Kirby 64 is on my list at 95. Other M is in the trash can. Kirby 64 is just, it's Kirby, but 64. Again, nostalgia choice, but also a very good game. And I like the item combination. Now, you'll notice I have Super Mario Brother 3 at number 6. Which is why I have Super Mario Brother 2 at 96. So I love Brother 2. It's great. I streamed a little bit of it with the All-Stars collection, and you know what? It's still a fun game. It's not particularly Mario when you compare it to, like, every other game in the series, but that's why I like it. I know it's Doki Doki Panic, but I don't mind. I got Dark Cloud 2 on my list. Because Dark Cloud 2 is a game where you can build up towns, and you go on little combat missions. There's clowns, there's freaks, there's geeks, and it's a very long game, but I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I got Jackal, which is a vehicular game from Konami. When on the NES, you play as a Jeep, and my cousin and I used to play co-op. I'll always remember the Jackal music. It's a difficult game, but we would replay it endlessly. It was so fun. And even if we completed the game, we would play it again the week after. Why not? And then you have Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2, for me, I put it on the list because it is a really fun shooter, but this wouldn't be on the list without the Octo expansion. The fact that they released a really solid single-player expansion for this thing, on top of all the other free updates, you know, for multiplayer, pushes it into, you know, like, really next-level shit. Like, I think that it's a full, complete package. It's just a lot of fun, tons of weapons. I like the gameplay mechanics of it. It's great. It's Splatoon. And then I got, F-Zero GX and Pilot Wing 64. Those are my last... It's F-Zero. It's amazing. It's a shame that we didn't get more F-Zero, and we probably won't for a long time, if ever. I don't know. And Pilot Wing 64, when Mario 64 came out, I played the fuck out of both that and Pilot Wings. Pilot Wings was a great game to have for the months that N64 had droughts, because I could just boot it up and fly all over the place. And it wasn't boring. I made my own fun. And, I don't know, it's just a great game. I wish they would do more with both of these games. You know, I would love to see a new Pilot Wings and F-Zero game, both on Switch. But it probably won't happen. Final Fantasy X? No, not on my list. I have problems with Final Fantasy X, but I do think it's great. But not my favorite. It would be somewhere. Hyrule Warriors would not be on my list. Skyward Sword, not on my list. Final Fantasy IV, I never completed. You know, if I missed something, remember, it's because I haven't played it. There's a lot of good games I haven't played. This is my list. Granted, I've played thousands of games, but not every games, so I can really only do so much. Hollow Knight is cool, but it got a little long in the tooth for me. Gungeon is probably somewhere on the outskirts of the top 100. Time Splitters 2 would be on my list somewhere. If I had a top 200, Tropical Freeze probably would be, like, here. I'm not even kidding. You know what I mean? There's so many great games that I wish I had played that I could put on my list. But, yeah. Opposing Force, well, keep in mind I have Half-Life here, right? Now, I don't have Opposing Force on my list, but Half-Life Opposing Force is my favorite expansion. You could easily include that with Half-Life. So again, Axiom Verge is not on this list, no. Black Mesa is not on the list because I just put Half-Life on there. Terraria might be close to being on the list. Witcher 3 is on my list, I think. Is it? Did I have Witcher 3 on here? Nope. Here's the deal about Witcher 3. People love that game. I love that game from what I played of it, but I didn't complete it. I only played, maybe 20 or so hours of it. Or more. Maybe 25 or something like that. I enjoyed the fuck out of it, but for some reason, maybe it was just the time I played it, I didn't play it into completion. That said, they're releasing a better visual version of it, like a free upgrade when it releases on the next-gen consoles with, like, ray tracing and all that shit. So I'm going to play it then again. Combat-wise, the game isn't amazing, but, yeah. Fire Emblem Awakening, great game. Vinny, you've not completed Jedi Outcast either, unless I'm mistaken. No, I haven't, but here's the thing. I played many levels of Jedi Outcast over and over and over again, and I played a fuckload of the multiplayer. So for me, Jedi Outcast, even though I got to the end and never really finished it, like I missed a couple levels, I played a lot of that game, and I did a lot of custom levels, and I played a lot of, like, you know, like, putting cheats on. So, you're right, but, yeah. Vinny, Bayonetta? Oh man, that's another good one. Bayonetta would probably be on there. Bayonetta 2 in particular could definitely make my list. It could probably be somewhere like in the 80s or 90s. Baba's not on the list, no. Minecraft is not on the list. Though it could be. So. Again, chat, anytime we mention these games, it's really tough. Like, I do these lists because honestly, I had a lot of fun making them. I'm done now. There's a chance I'd make an album list in the future, but I had fun. I like compiling my thoughts on games. I like coming to these conclusions of like, okay, which are my top 10? But it's really, really hard to include everything I love. And I know that some of the chat gets a little upset if I miss a game like Mario and Luigi 1, for example. Doesn't mean I didn't love it, but it also means that, like, there are games on my list that I'd have to bump off, and it sucks to bump them off. So, this is like the best I can do. And yes, there are definitely some notable exclusions, but that said, if I missed something and it's a good game, chances are I'd probably like it. But that's my list, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed me talking about movies and games, and maybe an album list at some point, but make your own list. Let me know what you like. Like, one of the things I liked in the video for the top 150 games, people made their own top 25s and top 50s, and some were very similar, and some were extremely different. So, you know, if you're watching this on Full Sauce, not you right now, chat, but on Full Sauce, pop a list in the comments. I will actually make it a point to check it out, because I want to see what people think, and get like an idea of how close we are in style and taste for our lists. But yeah, thank you again, everybody. This was a fun exercise. I hope you enjoyed it at least a little bit. If it aggravated you, maybe you shouldn't watch top 10 lists or 100 lists. But regardless, it's good. It's good. We're gonna take a break. I'll be back with Tony Hawk. Probably gonna bump Risk of Rain 2 tonight, because I want to do some Tony Hawk and not Shaft Tony Hawk. So, Risk of Rain will be another night. Also, there's a list of approved songs. I'm gonna disable some songs that are gonna get my video blocked. But until then, let's get this video blocked with a song for a BRB. I've been singing, like, mental singing most of the day. And now, I was just talking for the past hour and a half. So, don't expect too much from me for Tony Hawk. I'll be right back, chat. I have a song. I don't know if I played the song. Here's a David Bowie song that I had not heard. But it's Adrian Bellew, but with a little Bowie on it. Check it out.